So let me talk. Don't let me forget that I was going to pull up Hexfire data in relation to ETH. Okay. Because I tend to get on a roll and then I'll forget. Okay.
I
So
gotcha.
here's the fear and greed index, guys. And we're seeing some greed come in for the first time in a while. And if we look in, maybe we'll go to a 1 year. You can see this structurally is painting a nice rounded bottom. And this is basically trying to measure sentiment off all these different, you know, sources, social media, surveys, dominance, trends. Price plays volatility, market momentum. Price plays the biggest role here, honestly, or it had in the past, and now they've kind of adapted a little bit. But look at this is like, you know, inverse head and shoulders territory. And you can, by the way, you can chart non-price data the same way you can chart price data. That's the beauty of technical analysis, is it's just higher highs and higher lows, and it applies to everything. So, because, you know, everything's got a trend, right? So
Sure.
So yeah, look at this is pretty, you know, textbook reversal here that we're getting. And so sentiment's now coming up to test for the first time since July. These levels here, which was heavy resistance back in here, it was support turned to resistance. So if I just draw like a flat line around here, this is very clear. Now you get ahead of that level there, retest, and like, okay, things are going to be looking, sentiment's going to be through the roof. I mean, BTC's putting in $10,000 candles at that point, I think. And then I think the question then remains, like, on a max chart, what is the highest levels we hit last cycle? Well, 2020, we were hitting levels like 92, 93, 95. And right now we're only at like a 65, 73, 65, somewhere in there. So
we got a ways to go.
There's a lot of juice left in the tank is what I'm saying. And like in that first initial period, we just did this. We went up in this channel and we topped out around 88. And then we've just been consolidating. You could see the price kind of in there, right? That whole higher lows and higher highs flipped and reversing now. So, yeah, sentiments, like we're at the key point, right? Where everything's looking pretty nice. And this run up was not too insane that it just took us up here, right? So that's nice too. You know, I always wanted to see us take our time because, you know, blowing off too soon would have really kind of stalled out our ability to get gains in alts. That was one of my fears in the early 2023, was that Bitcoin would just steal all the economic energy out of the space and create a maxi mentality. But it looks like that's not the case now. So,
well, there is definitely maxi mentality. There's people out there that have that. But yeah, you're so right. Because when we were talking to you earlier in the year, it was looking, you know, everybody was talking about left translated cycle. BTC was so bullish to start the year off. And I'm with you 100%. We've seen it slow down and kind of get that time capitulation for people here over the rest of the year. And now we're bam, right back on track with a 4-year cycle. So really good to see that.
Ewok, what are you thinking about the sentiment right now that you're seeing?
Well, you know, I don't really, I don't often pay attention to the fear and greed. It's weird that we've only ever gotten as high as, what's that, 90, what is that back there in
1995, like I think.
Yeah.
This one here was 83 only back in 2019. This doesn't go back to the 17th cycle where it would have been at like 100.
Right.
Right.
95 is the highest level we've ever painted. And that's probably because we had that rounded top last cycle, right? We didn't get the blow off.
Well, we got the double. Maybe that's the double top, right? We got one in April, and then it happened again in September or something like that.
Yeah, I want to see December 2017 on this chart. That'd be interesting to see where people were at then.
And you know what that would do? Because it was such a huge number, it would push all the other data down.
Right.
So then that's what tells me that, you know, maybe, you know, as we approach 100, all the rest of this data goes down, because this really does end up becoming, by the way, don't expect this, you know, because it's dangerous to do it. But if you did get a 2017 style run where institutions are just aping in at 150K, 250K, 350, like stupid numbers, it's not out of the question, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Depends on how much if this is like going to be done in one cycle where the world gets onboarded at once, or does it happen slowly, gradually over time, and the volatility is reduced and you just get a forever buy pressure, like everyone's 401ks becomes like an automatic buy and burn on Bitcoin price or Ethereum price.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that is something too, though. You know, there's something to that, the ETF thing. And, you know, we saw the amounts of money being injected daily. However, the price didn't really reflect it, which started to scare some people, I think, to say, are they really buying? Is it IOUs? Is this over the counter stuff that's not, what's happening with the amount of money that they say is being injected daily as opposed to what the charts are actually really showing.
And I think that was just smart market making, where they were like buying into the weakness and then letting it fall farther and buying into that weakness. But there were certain levels that clearly the market was hungry for, that they couldn't get the lowest prices. And when I say they, it's like the sharks that are accumulating all the Bitcoin.
Sure.
They weren't going to let it go to a certain level.